Chosen one. Pause for a moment and listen. Around you, life may look unchanged. Yet, in the unseen, everything has shifted. Heaven itself has fallen silent, stunned by what you finally did. The cycle that chained generations before you has broken. What others could not overcome, you overcame. And that sound of freedom rose up like a trumpet blast in eternity. There were nights when you cried in secret, wondering if your prayers meant anything. You whispered into the darkness, and silence echoed back. But heaven was listening. Angels stood watch, and in the very moment you thought it was over, strength rose from within you. That was the moment you stood. That was the moment you chose not to go back. And that was the moment heaven gasped. I see you like an old locked gate. For years it stood shut, rust thick upon its hinges, vines wrapping tight around it. Many tried to force it open, but failed. Then you came. With one step of obedience, the chains rattled, the lock cracked, and the gate flew open. The sound of it echoed beyond this world. Your story mirrors Joshua's. He stood before the walls of Jericho, a barrier no human effort could break. Yet when he obeyed the Lord, what was impossible crumbled into dust. That is what you have done. Your obedience brought down what once mocked you, and heaven paused in awe. It is written in the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Those words now wrap around your spirit. Courage is rising inside of you, and strength is being renewed. Heaven does not just see your step forward, it celebrates it. Your life is like a seed buried deep in the soil. For years you looked hidden, pressed down, overlooked. But the moment the rain fell, the seed broke open. A new life pushed through the ground. That sudden burst shocked even the ones who thought nothing would ever grow from you. That's what your decision has done. It has released life that cannot be contained. Chosen one. Every scar you carry, every delay, every rejection, they have shaped you. They built a resilience no one can take away. And when you finally stood, when you finally chose to walk free, the sound of it shook the heavens. Imagine an orchestra, hushed and still, the audience waiting in suspense, and then one note pierces the silence, changing everything. That first sound transforms the atmosphere. That's you. You are the note that has broken the silence. You are the sound that shifts eternity. If this word is stirring your spirit, let it be known. Like this message, share it so others can feel heaven's reminder, and subscribe so you remain connected to this flow of revelation. And if you know this is for you, type 777 inches, the comments below. It is your prophetic act, your declaration that heaven has seen you, and you will not turn back. What you have done has already been recorded in eternity. Heaven paused, angels rejoiced, and the throne smiled. The story has only begun. What you did may have felt small in your eyes, but in the courts of heaven, it was monumental. The step you took shifted atmospheres. It was as though a door slammed shut on the enemy's plans, and another door swung wide open into the light. Understand this: heaven celebrates not only the grand victories, but also the hidden ones. When you resisted temptation, when you forgave instead of holding bitterness, When you lifted your head after disappointment, those were victories. And the moment you finally rose, all of creation stood still. You may not have heard the sound, but your name was spoken in heaven. The king himself leaned forward and said, "That one belongs to me." Your act of obedience was more than survival. It was alignment. You aligned yourself with destiny. You aligned yourself with the eternal story written before you were even born. Chosen one. Never underestimate the power of a single step. Just as a spark can ignite a wildfire, just as a stone can ripple across an entire lake, one act of obedience can alter generations. The weight of your choice will echo long after this day, and heaven has already inscribed it in the scrolls of remembrance. So, walk forward with confidence. What you did has stunned heaven, silenced the enemy, and set your destiny into motion. Chosen one. When heaven paused, the angels did not remain silent. They whispered your name among themselves, marveling at the courage that flowed through you. For a long time, they had watched your journey, the stumbling, the getting back up, the moments you thought of quitting. Every tear shed in secret became like jewels stored in heaven's treasury. Now, as you stepped into obedience, the angels leaned close and spoke your name with reverence. It is a mystery that the hosts of heaven, radiant in strength and splendor, stand in awe of a human's choice. Yet it is true, you live in a flesh that grows weary. You wrestle with doubts. You carry scars, both seen and unseen, yet still, you chose to rise. That is what startled the angels. They who never knew the weight of sin marvel at those who endure its temptations and still choose the light. Picture this, a library of heaven where each name is written in living fire. As you stood in courage, your name glowed brighter, drawing the attention of angelic eyes. One whispered, "Did you see?" They finally stepped forward. Another responded, "Yes, the courage is real, the obedience true." The chamber filled with awe, not because of your perfection, but because of your surrender. There was another chosen one long ago who faced a season of fear, Esther. She was hidden, an orphan in a foreign palace, unsure of her worth. Yet when the moment came, she risked her life to step before the king. Angels whispered then, too. They marveled at the courage of a young woman who knew her decision could cost her everything, and heaven recorded it, just as it records your step today. The Word of God reminds us in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 1, verse 7, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind." Your courage is not measured by the absence of fear, but by moving forward in spite of it. The angels recognize this. They know how loud the lies of the enemy can sound. They know how heavy despair can weigh on the human heart. That is why your decision resounds so deeply. It tells the unseen realm, this one will not bow to darkness. Think of yourself as a lighthouse standing on the edge of a stormy shore. The waves crash. The winds howl. The night tries to swallow all light. Yet your flame holds steady, casting guidance for those lost at sea. The angels see the light and whisper, "This is why they were chosen." And your courage does more than shine. It disrupts. Every step you take in obedience sends tremors through the realm of darkness. It forces shadows to retreat and exposes lies long hidden. This is why heaven celebrates. It is not just about you, It is about the ripple effect you are creating. There will be those who never tell you out loud, but your life has already become a testimony. Someone else, watching quietly, will find the strength to rise because they saw you do it first. That is why heaven whispers your name, not only for who you are, but for the lives that will follow in your footsteps. Chosen one. Remember this truth. Heaven is not shocked because God doubted you. Heaven is shocked because you finally believed in who you were created to be. The angels, who have always seen your potential, now rejoice because potential has turned into reality. You stepped out of waiting and into destiny. Do not diminish what you have done, even if the world ignores it, even if no one claps for you. Here, know this, your name has been spoken in the heavenly courts. Your act of courage has been noted in eternity. Angels whispered, and heaven smiled. Your name carries more weight now than you realize. When heaven speaks it, it is not with casual tones, it is with honor. The angels whisper your name because they see what you carry. They recognize that you are no longer walking bound, but walking crowned. Think of how a single flame in the night can draw the gaze of every eye nearby. That is what your decision has become, a flame impossible to ignore. The angels cannot help but look. They cannot help but acknowledge the strength that now radiates from your spirit. Chosen one. Hold this close. Heaven values what the world overlooks. The step you took in secret is celebrated openly in the unseen realm. That is why your name is whispered. It has become a sound of testimony in eternity. Chosen one. Do you hear it? The sound of chains breaking. What once bound you for years has fallen to the ground with a noise so loud that even the heavens took notice. The grip of the past, the weight of shame, the cycle of fear, they all shattered when you finally stood up and refused to bow any longer. You may not realize it, but the sound of freedom is never quiet. When Paul and Silas prayed and sang hymns in the prison, the chains did not slip off silently. They broke with an earthquake, and the prisoners around them heard it. In the same way, when you made your choice, it was not hidden. The unseen world heard the noise of chains collapsing, and it echoed like thunder. There is something powerful about the moment of release. For so long, you may have believed that your bondage was permanent, but God had written another chapter for you, one that ends with liberty. And when you stepped into it, heaven celebrated, and hell trembled. It is written in the book of Psalms, chapter 107, verse 14, He brought them out of darkness, the utter darkness, and broke away their chains. Chosen one. This verse is your reality. You have walked out of the shadows that once covered you, the chains that mocked your progress, that whispered you would never be free, are now shattered pieces on the ground. You are no longer a prisoner, you are a testimony. Imagine a bird that has lived its whole life in a cage. The door has always been open, yet it never dared to fly. Then, one day, courage rose within, and the wings stretched wide. The first flight was shaky, but once the bird lifted into the sky, it realized it was never meant for cages. That is you. You have finally discovered your wings. Do not look back at the broken chains with regret. They are proof of your victory. They are the evidence that God has been faithful. They are the sound that tells the world you are no longer who you once were. And now, I invite you to mark this moment with your voice. In the comments, type these words: I choose liberty. This is not just a phrase, it is your prophetic act. By writing it, you are declaring that freedom is your choice, not just your gift. You are proclaiming that you will not walk back into cages, that liberty is the path you embrace from this day forward. Every time you see those words, let them remind you the chains are dust and your steps are free. The chains have fallen, the doors are open, your steps are new, and heaven is still echoing with the sound of your victory. The breaking of chains is never just about you. Chosen one, when freedom comes to one life, it sends a signal to many others who are still waiting in silence. Somewhere, someone who has been watching your journey will gather the courage to stand because they saw you do it first. The echo of your freedom becomes their invitation to believe. Think of how fire spreads in a dry field. One spark is all it takes. Your decision, your act of courage, is that spark. The freedom you have received is not meant to be kept hidden. It is meant to spread to ignite others who sit in shadows, to awaken those who thought they could never be free. That is why heaven celebrates. Your chains breaking is not only your story, it is a testimony that unlocks doors for many. I choose liberty is more than a comment. It is more than letters on a screen. It is a covenant you are declaring. When you type it, you are aligning your voice with the voice of heaven. You are saying, I agree with what God has done in me, and I will walk in it. This act seals the truth, not just in your mind, but in the unseen world. The enemy always tries to whisper, maybe the chains will return. Maybe this freedom won't last. But your declaration silences that lie. Writing, I choose liberty, is like striking the ground with a staff. Each word is a blow against fear, a step deeper into victory. You are testifying not only to yourself, but to every power of darkness, that your freedom is permanent. Chains no longer define you. Your new steps are not shaky, they are steady. Every stride you take is backed by the authority of heaven. And every time you declare liberty, the sound is like a trumpet blast, announcing to the world and to eternity, the cage is behind you, and the sky is yours. A divine spotlight has found you. Chosen one. For a long time, you may have felt hidden, unseen, almost invisible to the world around you. There were seasons when your efforts seemed unnoticed, when your sacrifices felt wasted. But the truth is this: heaven was watching all along. And now the time has come for your obedience to be revealed before the watching universe. When God lifts his hand and points to one of his chosen, the moment is undeniable. It is like the breaking of dawn. After a long night, the sun cannot be stopped from rising. That is the season you have stepped into. The light of heaven now shines on what you once did in secret. Every prayer you whispered, every act of kindness that went unacknowledged, every battle you fought in silence, these have all been gathered together, and the Lord has turned the spotlight toward you. Think of Joseph. For years, he lived in shadows, betrayed by brothers, forgotten, in prison, overlooked by those who promised to help him. Yet the day came when Pharaoh sent for him, and Joseph was brought into the palace. In one moment, everything hidden was revealed. The wisdom, the endurance, the faithfulness he had carried in secret became the very reason he was lifted up. Heaven had been watching, and the time of unveiling arrived. That is your story now. You are stepping into the place where your hidden season ends. Heaven has chosen to showcase not your perfection, but your perseverance. The trials you endured without applause are becoming the very testimony that shines before others. It is written in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." This is what the divine spotlight means. You are not meant to remain concealed. The hand of God is setting you on display, not for your glory, but for His. What once seemed like delay was preparation. The very things you thought disqualified you are now the evidence of grace. Picture a jewel buried deep in the earth. For years, it lay under pressure, unseen, unvalued. But when it was finally unearthed and lifted to the light, its brilliance stunned everyone who looked at it. That is you. Your hiddenness was not punishment, it was polishing. And now, the light reveals the beauty forged in the secret place. This spotlight does not bring pride, it brings purpose. When God reveals you, it is because others need the light you carry. Someone else is wandering in shadows, desperate for direction. They do not need perfection, they need authenticity. They need your scars, your testimony, your story of rising again. And as the divine spotlight shines, your life becomes a lantern for them. You may feel unworthy of this attention, but understand, the spotlight is not on your flaws. It is on God's work in you. Just as the stars shine brighter against the dark sky, your light shines best against the backdrop of your past struggles. What once brought you shame now becomes the stage for His glory. And this light is not temporary. When God sets a city on a hill, it cannot be hidden again. The unveiling may surprise you, but it is not accidental. It is divine timing. Everything has led to this point. Heaven's spotlight is steady, unwavering, purposeful. So, walk with confidence. You are not standing in your own glow. You are standing in the radiance of the one who called you. The world may just be seeing you now, but heaven has celebrated you all along. The unveiling is not the beginning, it is the confirmation of what heaven already knew. Chosen one. Remember this. You are not in the spotlight to entertain, but to illuminate. You are not displayed for vanity, but for victory. What you carry will guide others, inspire them, and remind them that God raises the hidden at the right time. The light is on you. Step into it boldly. Do not shrink back now. The divine spotlight does not expose you to harm it, reveals you for impact. Just as a lighthouse is not built to remain dark, neither were you formed to stay unnoticed. The hand of God has placed you high, so that others may find their way through your testimony. Understand this, the light on you is not fragile. It cannot be extinguished by jealousy, criticism, or the whispers of the enemy. No shadow can dim what heaven has chosen to reveal. So, lift your head, stand tall. What was once hidden is now a beacon. You are living proof that God exalts the faithful in His perfect timing. The enemy trembles in rage. Chosen one, he has realized what perhaps you did not even fully see, that your step of obedience has shifted everything. The grip he once thought permanent has slipped away. His plans, once confident, have been dismantled in an instant. It is a frightening sight for darkness when one life awakens, because the enemy knows. When you rise, you are not rising alone. Your victory carries others with it. Your breakthrough is a spark that spreads like fire. That is why he trembles, because he cannot stop what heaven has already set in motion. Think of it this way: a storm can rage with all its might, but a single ray of sunlight piercing through the clouds signals that the end is near. Your life is that light. Your obedience has pierced the storm. The enemy knows his time of dominance is over. Scripture says in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 31, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" This truth is what terrifies the enemy. He cannot undo what God has sealed. He cannot fight against the one who stands beside you. Your very existence as a chosen one is proof that heaven's plans are greater than hell's schemes. But hear me, your fight was never just for yourself. You are like a torchbearer running through the night, carrying fire that others will need. And just as a torch must be kept burning, your light must be nurtured. This is where community matters. I want to speak to you from the heart now. The work of spreading light, of delivering messages like this, is like planting seeds in a vast field. Some seeds grow quickly, some take time, but all require care, consistency, and resources to flourish. The soil is rich, the harvest is ready, but the hands need strength to keep sowing. That is why I gently invite you. If this message has touched your heart, if you sense the fire of God in it, consider supporting this work. Think of it not as an obligation, but as watering the field that is already producing fruit. Even the smallest drop of water refreshes the soil and allows the seeds to grow stronger. Supporting can take many forms. It may be as simple as pressing the like button, sharing this with someone who needs it, or subscribing, so you stay connected. These actions cost nothing but spread the light further, reaching corners where despair still hides. And for those who feel led, donating is another way of partnering with what God is doing here. Picture it like placing oil into a lamp. The lamp can shine for a while on its own, but with oil continually added, the flame grows steady, reaching farther into the night. Or think of it as dropping a single stone into still waters. The ripples move far beyond what the eye can see. Your donation is that ripple, touching lives you may never meet, carrying light where your feet cannot go. No one is forced. No one is pressured. The Spirit of God moves through willingness, not compulsion. If your heart says yes, then let your giving be an act of worship, a testimony that you believe in the power of light, overcoming darkness. And if your heart does not feel led, then your presence here, listening and receiving, is already a gift. Chosen one. You are part of a divine army. Each one carries something different. Some carry swords, some shields, some torches. When you like, when you share, when you subscribe, you are lifting your torch high. When you donate, you are strengthening the entire army, fueling the march forward. It is not about one person, it is about many rising together. Imagine a bridge stretching across a raging river. Every plank added allows more people to cross. That is what your support does. It adds another plank, another step, making the way smoother for those who will come after you. So, let your actions be free, joyful, and Spirit-led. The enemy trembles not only because you have risen, but because he sees an army rising with you. Your obedience has sparked it. Your support fuels it. And heaven is smiling as the light spreads farther than ever before. The darkness is shrinking. The trembling has begun. And you, chosen one, are at the center of this divine disruption. And remember this, chosen one, the trembling of the enemy is not the end, it is only the beginning. Each step you take, each act of faith, each offering of support becomes another blow against the darkness. The spotlight of heaven grows brighter, and your story is only unfolding. The scrolls were unsealed. Chosen one, heaven had been waiting for the moment when your obedience would break the seal on a chapter written long ago. What was hidden in mystery has now been revealed, and the story of your life is unfolding exactly as the author intended. For years, it may have felt as though you were walking without clarity. You asked questions that seemed unanswered. You searched for direction that never came. But the truth is this, the scroll was not yet opened. Heaven had written your destiny. But there is always an appointed time for every page to turn. And now, that time has come. Think of Daniel. He saw visions that troubled him, mysteries beyond his understanding, and the scrolls were sealed until the appointed time. In the same way, your life has carried mysteries that could not be explained before, but now the seal is broken, and what was once confusion is becoming clarity. The voice of God thundered in the book of Revelation, chapter 5, verse 5. Do not weep. See, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has triumphed. He is able to open the scroll and its 7 seals. Do you see it? The power to open what was sealed does not rest in your hands, but in the hands of the one who has triumphed. He is the Lion, and he has decided it is time. The chapter of your waiting is over, and the chapter of fulfillment has begun. Your story is not random. Every detail, every trial, every delay, it has all been written into the script of your destiny. Nothing is wasted. The pain you endured is ink on the page. The victories you tasted are milestones written in fire. And now, as the scroll unfolds, you see that the author has never left the pen. Imagine a painter unveiling a canvas. For months, the work is hidden, the strokes secret, the image incomplete. Then, at the right moment, the cover is lifted, and the masterpiece is revealed. That is your life now. The unveiling has begun, and what heaven wrote is being displayed for all to see. Chosen one. This new chapter carries weight. It carries responsibility. It calls you higher. Because the page that has opened is not about survival, it is about assignment. The hidden season taught you endurance, but the revealed season will demand obedience. Heaven has unsealed your purpose so that you can walk fully in it. Do not shrink back. Do not question whether you are ready. The fact that the scroll has been opened means heaven has declared you prepared. You may feel unworthy, but worthiness was never your qualification. Obedience is. Step boldly, for the same Lion who opened the scroll walks beside you. There is something powerful about marking a new beginning. When heaven unseals a chapter, it is worth responding in faith. So, I invite you, in the comments, write this, number 888. 8 is the number of new beginnings, and 3 8s declare triple renewal, divine overflow, and heavenly completion of cycles. By writing it, you are proclaiming, I step into my new season, the chapter heaven has unsealed for me. This is not superstition, it is prophetic action, a seal of agreement with what heaven has already begun. Remember, Every scroll opened brings revelation, but also responsibility. What you do with this chapter matters. Heaven has trusted you with the unsealed portion of your story. Walk carefully, walk boldly, and walk in faith. And never forget, the author of your destiny has already written the ending, and it is victory. The pages ahead may bring battles, but every battle has already been accounted for. Every twist and turn is part of a narrative that ends in glory. Chosen one. The scrolls are open. Read them with your life. Live them with your choices. And let heaven's story unfold through you. When you write 888, you are not simply typing numbers. You are declaring alignment. You are saying to heaven and to yourself, the old season has ended, and a new one begins. 8 is the rhythm of resurrection. The sound of cycles closing and fresh doors opening. Writing it is like planting a flag in the ground, marking the territory that now belongs to you. Chosen one. Remember, heaven responds to faith-filled acts. What you declare becomes a seed, and what you believe becomes a harvest. By sealing this moment with 888, you are choosing to walk forward, not backward. You are choosing newness over old patterns, clarity over confusion, destiny over delay. Your obedience shook eternity. Chosen one. What may have felt like a small decision to you has become a tremor that reached into generations before you and generations yet to come. In one act of surrender, you altered the timeline of your family, your lineage, and your destiny. Eternity itself was moved because you said yes. Sometimes obedience does not feel dramatic. It can feel quiet, simple, almost ordinary. Yet heaven sees it differently. Every time you chose truth over lies, forgiveness over bitterness, faith over fear, it reverberated beyond the moment. Eternity was shifted. What once seemed fixed has been rewritten by the author of time himself, using your yes as the ink. Think of Abraham. One man's obedience led to a covenant that shaped nations. He left his homeland, not knowing where he was going. Yet that single act of trust became the foundation for generations of promise. Heaven marked that moment as a turning point in history. In the same way, your obedience has become a turning point, not only for you, but for those who will come after you. It is written in the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, verse 8, by faith Abraham, when called to go to a place he would later receive as his inheritance, obeyed and went. Even though he did not know where he was going, this scripture reveals the heart of obedience. It rarely comes with a full map. It often feels like stepping into the unknown, yet when you step, heaven records it as faith, and faith shakes eternity. Imagine a stone dropped into a lake. The ripples spread outward, touching shores far beyond the place where the stone first fell. Your obedience is that stone. You may only see the water directly around you, but the ripples reach beyond your sight, touching lives and places you will never know. Your decision has broken generational patterns, where others fell into cycles of despair, addiction, or fear. You stood and chose differently. That one choice has set a new course for your lineage. Your children and their children will walk paths of freedom because you opened the way. Eternity has been shifted by your yes, and it does not stop with your family. The unseen realm has also been shaken. Angels move at the sound of obedience. aligning themselves with your steps. Demons scatter, unable to hold their ground when you align with God's word. The ground beneath you is not the same as it was before you have altered it with your surrender. Think also of Ruth. She chose to leave everything familiar behind and follow Naomi, not knowing what her future held. That obedience led her into the lineage of kings, and even into the line of Christ himself. A decision that looked small to the world became monumental in eternity. Your obedience carries the same hidden weight. You may not see the full picture now, but heaven does. The story unfolding because of your yes will continue long after this moment has passed. Chosen one, never underestimate the power of simple obedience. Eternity does not measure by size, it measures by surrender. Heaven is not looking for dramatic acts, but for faithful ones. And when you obey, even in the small, eternity shakes. Picture an earthquake. It begins deep underground, unseen, unnoticed at first. But when the plates shift, the surface cannot remain still. That is your obedience. It may have happened quietly in your heart, but beneath the surface, eternity felt the shift. And the evidence will show in ways you cannot yet imagine. So walk boldly. Continue in obedience. For it is not only your destiny that is being shaped, it is eternity itself. Heaven has seen, the earth will feel, and generations will reap what your yes has planted. And let this truth anchor you. Obedience is never wasted. Even when no one applauds, even when it costs you dearly, even when it seems no immediate fruit appears, heaven counts every step. Eternity does not measure success by speed or numbers, but by faithfulness. Chosen one, your obedience has not only shaken what is seen, but also what is unseen. The ripple you created will continue long after your lifetime. Someone will rise in courage because you showed them it was possible. Someone will walk in freedom because you carried the key first. And even in eternity, when all is revealed, you will see the vast scope of what your simple yes accomplished. So do not grow weary in doing good. Keep stepping. Keep obeying. You have already caused eternity to tremble. Imagine what will happen when you continue. The story is not finished. It is only gathering momentum. The crown drew closer. Chosen one, not because of striving, not because of ambition, but because heaven has marked your endurance. You once believed the crown was far from you, reserved for others stronger, holier, or more visible. Yet every step of faith, every hidden act of obedience, every tear you shed in silence has brought it nearer. The crown is not given to the flawless, but to the faithful. For a long season, you felt unworthy, carrying the weight of past mistakes. You wondered if disobedience had disqualified you, if your failures had erased your calling. But the truth is this: the crown has always been written into your story. It was never in question, it was only waiting for you to rise. Think of Paul, who once hunted believers with rage in his heart, yet after his encounter with Christ, his path shifted entirely. He spoke of the crown not as a reward for perfection, but as a testimony of endurance. His words still carry across time. The apostle reminds us in his second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8, "Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing." This is the promise. The crown is not only for those who stand on platforms or lead multitudes. It is for those who endure, those who wait, those who love him enough to keep walking even when the road is dark. Imagine a runner in a race. The finish line is not always in sight. Muscles ache, longspurn, doubts whisper, but step by step, stride by stride, the runner moves forward. Then, suddenly, the end appears, and the crown awaits. That is your journey. Every stumble, every restart, every tear along the path was not wasted. It was part of the run that brought you here. Your crown is not made of earthly gold. It is not tarnished by rust or diminished by time. It is woven with threads of eternal glory, marked by the blood of Christ, and secured by his promise. No enemy can steal it. No failure can erase it. No delay can cancel it. Chosen one. The crown is a symbol of victory, but also of identity. It tells the unseen world who you belong to and what kingdom you represent. It is not merely placed on your head, it is placed on your destiny. The closer it draws, the more your life begins to reflect the authority it represents. Think of a blacksmith shaping metal. The heat, the hammer, the pressure, all painful, all relentless. Yet the metal that emerges is stronger, purer, and ready to carry weight. That is what your trials have been. The seasons you thought were breaking you were in fact preparing you to bear the crown. And this crown does not exalt you above others, it positions you to serve them. A true crown bearer is not one who lords over people, but one who carries responsibility. Your life will shine as a testimony, not for your glory, but so that others may find hope through you. Do not let your past convince you that you are unworthy. The crown does not approach because of your perfection. It approaches because of his promise. You are walking toward a reward secured by grace, sustained by obedience, and sealed by eternity. So lift your head. The crown is not distant, it is near. Heaven draws it closer with every act of faith, every step of endurance, every yes you whisper in the dark. You are not who you were. You are who he called you to be. And the evidence of that truth is the crown that now draws near. Chosen one. Walk forward with assurance. The journey has been long, but the promise stands. The crown of righteousness waits not only for you, but for all who endure to the end. And you, by your obedience, are counted among them. And when that crown rests upon you, it will not simply be a reward, it will be a testimony. Every tear you cried will glisten in its jewels. Every trial you endured will shine in its gold. Every hidden act of faith will echo in its weight. The world may never have applauded you, but heaven has been preparing this moment since the beginning. Chosen one. Do not measure your worth by earthly applause. The King himself is your rewarder, and when he places the crown upon your head, all of eternity will know, this one endured. This one remained faithful. This one belongs to me. The testing furnace has cooled. Chosen one. You know what it is to walk through fire. There were seasons when it felt as if every direction pressed against you, as though the heat would consume you. You prayed for relief, yet the flames only rose higher, and still you endured. Fire has a way of testing what cannot be shaken. It reveals what is fragile and burns away what is false, but it also purifies. And now, as the furnace quiets, heaven looks at you and sees gold refined. shining, enduring. The writings of the Apostle Peter remind us in his first letter, chapter 1, verse 7. These trials will show that your faith is genuine. It is being tested, as fire purifies gold, though your faith is far more precious than mere gold. This is your story. The furnace was not punishment, it was preparation. The fire was never meant to destroy you, but to reveal what was unbreakable in you. And though others doubted, even the angels marvel at how you remained. Imagine pottery placed in the kiln. Before the fire, it is fragile clay, easily cracked, easily broken. But after the fire, it emerges solide, ready to carry weight. That is what has happened to you. The seasons of fire have prepared you to hold what heaven is entrusting you with now. Chosen one. The furnace has cooled. The intensity has passed. You have walked out, not smelling of smoke, but carrying evidence of endurance. Like the 3 Hebrew men in Babylon, you were not alone in the fire. The 4th man walked with you, and that presence has marked you forever. Do not despise the memory of the flames. Let them remind you that you were strong enough to endure, because God was faithful enough to sustain you. Every scar from the furnace is a testimony. Every step you take now carries the weight of one who has been refined. And here, I want you to mark this moment. In the comments, type these words: flames cannot claim. These 3 words are more than a statement. They are a spiritual banner raised over your life. The fire tried to destroy you, but it failed. The flames raged, but they could not take ownership of your soul. You walked through the heat and emerged untouched by its claim. That is why these words carry power. They are your testimony written in fire and survival. Chosen one. Understand this. When you declare, flames cannot claim, you are proclaiming victory over every season meant to consume you. You are reminding your spirit that pain does not own you. Loss does not define you, and trials cannot have the final word. The flames may have touched your surroundings, but they could not possess your essence. Your identity is sealed in God, not in the fire. Picture a tree struck by lightning. Its bark may bear scars, but deep within, the roots remain alive. Over time, new leaves grow, fresh branches stretch toward the sky, and life continues. That tree can boldly say, flames cannot claim. In the same way, your scars are proof not of defeat, but of survival. Proof that life within you was stronger than the heat against you. This declaration also silences the enemy. The adversary hoped the furnace would make you bitter, faithless, and broken. Instead, it refined you, purified you, and anchored you. Each time you say, flames cannot claim, you are mocking the plans of hell. You are saying, what was sent to kill me only revealed the God who sustains me. I'm in, and let it be known, the fire was not wasted. What you endured has prepared you to carry weight others could not bear. Your words now carry credibility, because they are not theories, they are forged in flames. When you speak hope, it is hope that has been tested. When you speak faith, it is faith that has survived fire. This makes your testimony unshakable. So hold this phrase close. Whisper it in prayer. Speak it over your scars. Declare it when memories of the furnace try to return. Every time you say it, you strengthen your spirit with the truth the fire has no claim over you, for you belong to God alone. Let these words echo beyond your own life. When you declare, "Flames cannot claim," you are not only speaking for yourself, you are speaking for others, still standing in the fire. You become a living signpost, showing them that survival is possible, that endurance is worth it, that faith holds even in the fiercest heat. Your voice becomes a shield for the weary, a spark of hope for the broken, and a reminder that the flames never win. You disrupted the plan of hell. Chosen one. For so long, the enemy drew blueprints against your life. He sketched out cycles meant to repeat, traps meant to snare, delays meant to break your hope. Every scheme was carefully arranged, like a chessboard designed for your defeat. But when you chose obedience, you knocked the pieces over, flipping the board, and the plans of darkness collapsed. Hell does not tremble at loud voices or empty rituals. It trembles when a life truly aligns with heaven. Your yes disrupted strategies that had been set in motion long before you were born. Cycles your ancestors could not break are now broken because of you. What was written in hell's books concerning your downfall has been erased by the hand of God. Scripture says in the book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 21, "Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails." The enemy planned, but God prevailed, and through your obedience, you became the very disruption that hell feared most. Think of it like a great orchestra. Darkness had composed a song of despair, rehearsing it for years. But just as the music began, you walked into the room carrying a different melody. With one note of faith, you silenced the noise of destruction. The score was interrupted, and heaven's song began to play instead. Or imagine a weaver at a loom, twisting threads into a dark pattern meant to entangle. Suddenly, the loom is cut, the threads fall loose, and the pattern cannot continue. That is what happened when you said yes to God. The weaving of destruction unraveled, and the design of heaven took its place. Chosen one. Because of this, there is reason to celebrate, and part of that celebration is sharing what has happened. When you like, when you share, when you subscribe, you are not just pressing buttons. You are amplifying the disruption. You are helping the sound of heaven's victory echo farther, reaching others who are still caught in hell's schemes. And for those who feel led, there is also a deeper invitation to donate. Think of it not as paying for a message, but as planting a seed into soil that is already producing fruit. When you give, you are pouring water onto a garden, ensuring that what is growing here continues to bloom. Or picture it like a lighthouse on the shore. The lamp can shine for a while with the oil it has, but when more oil is poured in, the light stretches farther, guiding more ships through the storm. Your donation is that oil helping the lamp keep burning bright, reaching souls lost at sea. Another way to see it, your support is like adding stones to a bridge. Each stone strengthens the path, making it safer for the next traveler. When you give, you help build that bridge, so others can walk from despair into hope without falling. Or think of it like a fire in the wilderness. One log alone can burn for a while, but when others gently place their logs onto the flames, the fire grows warmer, brighter, and visible for miles. When you like, when you share, when you subscribe, and when you donate, You are adding your log to this fire. Together, we are keeping the flame alive so that no traveler walking through the dark will ever feel cold or lost again. There is no pressure here, no demand. True giving is never forced. It must come from a willing heart, as worship, as love, as partnership with what God is doing. If you feel the Spirit stirring you, then let your gift be an act of joy, not obligation. And if you cannot, know this: your presence, your listening, your faith is already precious. Chosen one. The disruption of hell's plan is not a small matter. It has shifted things in the unseen realm, and by supporting, by sharing, by giving, you are saying, this victory must not stop with me. It must reach others. And this, hell's blueprint has failed. God's design is prevailing, and your part in this story is only just beginning. And let this truth settle deep in your heart. Every small act of support, every word shared, every seed sown, becomes part of heaven's great story. You are not merely watching a victory, you are participating in it. The disruption of hell's plan is multiplied through your hands, through your voice, through your generosity. Each step is like adding another light along a dark road, guiding more souls safely home. Chosen one. The beauty of this journey is that none of us walk it alone. Together, we carry the flame, and together, we shine against the night. Heavenly reinforcements arrive. Chosen one. You may have felt outnumbered in the battles of your past. There were nights when it seemed as if the darkness pressed too heavily against you. Mornings when the weight of despair nearly kept you from rising. Yet what you could not see was this: heaven never left you to fight alone. And now, as the enemy trembles at your obedience, reinforcements have been released on your behalf. Scripture gives us glimpses of this mystery. In the days of Elisha, a servant trembled at the sight of enemy armies surrounding them. Yet Elisha prayed, and the servant's eyes were opened. What he saw changed everything: hills filled with horses and chariots of fire. What once looked like defeat was revealed as overwhelming victory, because heaven's armies had been there all along. The ancient words in the book of Psalms, chapter 34, verse 7 declare, "The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, and he delivers them." Chosen one. These words are not just poetic, they are reality. The angels of God do not visit as guests, they encamp. They set up dwelling around you, forming a shield that darkness cannot penetrate. You have been surrounded, not by defeat, but by deliverance. Think of a weary soldier, bruised and battered, standing alone on the battlefield. Suddenly, the sound of approaching footsteps echoes across the field. Renforcement pour in strong. Ready, determined. The soldier who once felt isolated now stands taller, because he realizes the battle is no longer his alone. That is the truth of your story. Reinforcements have come, and they are mighty. And these reinforcements are not just angels with swords, they are also moments of supernatural strength that rise within you when you least expect it. They are the sudden peace in the middle of chaos, the burst of joy in the middle of grief, the clarity that cuts through confusion. Each of these is heaven's reinforcement, ensuring you never collapse beneath the weight. Remember also how Christ himself promised that he would not leave us as orphans. His Spirit within you is the greatest reinforcement of all. Others may flee, battle may rage, But the Spirit remains, whispering truth, guarding your heart, empowering your steps. Imagine a city under siege. Supplies are cut off. Hope is dwindling. Then, suddenly, the gates burst open and allies arrive with food, weapons, and reinforcements. The city is saved not because it was strong on its own, but because help came at the right moment. That is what heaven has done for you, sending strength at just the time you thought you could not endure. Do not think lightly of these reinforcements. Each one is evidence of God's faithfulness. Each one is proof that heaven is invested in your story. You are not a forgotten soldier in a forgotten battle. You are chosen, and heaven fights with you and for you. Chosen one. This should lift the weight from your shoulders. You are not tasked with carrying the entire burden of your destiny. Reinforcements have been assigned. Armies have been dispatched. Angelic. The Spirit empowers. Strength rises anew. Every resource of heaven has been aligned to ensure your victory, so stand firm. Know that you are surrounded not by defeat, but by deliverance. The reinforcements have come, and they will not leave until your battle is finished in triumph. Heaven has invested too much in you to let you fall. Now, the battlefield may still roar, but the outcome is already secured. The reinforcements are here, and with them, victory is inevitable. And let this truth strengthen your heart. Reinforcements do not arrive late. They come in heaven's timing. Often at the very edge of your breaking point, you may have thought you were abandoned. But it was only the silence before the cavalry's arrival. Just as dawn follows the darkest night, so too do reinforcements arrive precisely when the battle would otherwise overwhelm you. Chosen one. You are not meant to fight endlessly in your own strength. Every hero of faith had moments when heaven sent help. Moses with Aaron and Hur lifting his arms. Daniel with angels shutting the lions' mouths. Paul with believers who refreshed his spirit. In the same way, you have been appointed reinforcements for every season of struggle. Lift your eyes and see, you are not alone. The hosts of heaven surround you. The Spirit within sustains you, and the faithful on earth walk alongside you. With such reinforcements, how could you fall? Your battle is not just yours, it belongs to the Lord, and He has made sure you are never left defenseless. Your scars became your sermon. Chosen one. What once brought you shame has now become your testimony. The wounds that once felt like the end of you are now the very evidence that you survived. Scars do not speak of defeat, they speak of endurance. They declare, I walked through fire, I faced the storm, and I am still here. It is often said that scars are silent witnesses, yet in the hands of God, your scars are not silent. They preach louder than any words you could speak. They are living proof that God heals, sustains, and redeems. Think of Thomas, the disciple who doubted until he touched the wounds of Christ. It was not the absence of scars that convinced him, but the presence of them. In the same way, those who encounter your life will believe, not because you appear untouched, but because you are scarred and yet standing. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Hosea. Chapter 6, verse 1. Come, let us return to the Lord. He has torn us to pieces, but He will heal us. He has injured us, but He will bind up our wounds. Chosen one. Your scars are the canvas where God's power is painted. They tell a story of weakness met with grace, of brokenness met with strength. And when others look at you, They will see not the wound, but the glory of the one who carried you through it. Picture a pot once shattered, restored with golden seams. In Japan, this art is called kintsugi, brokenness, mended with beauty, making the vessel more precious than before. That is what God has done with you. Your scars are the golden seams, turning what once seemed ruined into something breathtaking. Do not hide your scars. Show them, for they are sermons without words. They are evidence to a hurting world that healing is real. And to mark this truth, let your declaration rise. In the comments, write this number, 222. 2 is the number of witness, and 3 twos proclaim divine confirmation. My testimony is established. My scars are not shame, but proof of God's healing. By writing 222, you are aligning with heaven's witness and declaring that your life speaks louder than your pain. Your scars do not disqualify you, they qualify you to shine. Let them preach. Let them sing. Let them testify, for heaven smiles. Knowing your scars have become your sermon. Scars, chosen. 1. Are not marks of weakness, they are signatures of survival. Each one is like a chapter title in the book of your life, declaring what you walked through and how God carried you out. They do not speak of the pain you suffered as much as the power that preserved you. When you think about scars, remember this: wounds left untreated can fester, but wounds healed leave behind proof of recovery. Your scars show that you did not stay broken. They are not the evidence of abandonment, but of restoration. And that is why they are sermons. Every scar is a pulpit. Every healed wound, a testimony. Every mark, a message that says, grace brought me through. Oh, take, for example, Joseph, betrayed, enslaved, imprisoned his life, bore scars of rejection and injustice. Yet those scars became his sermon when he stood before his brothers and declared, "You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good." The pain of his past was not erased, but it was redefined. That is what has happened to you. And here lies the power. Your scars speak to others who are still bleeding, to the one who feels forgotten. Your scars declare that God still heals, to the one who feels ashamed. Your scars proclaim that shame can be transformed into honor, to the one who fears the wound will never close. Your scars testify that healing is possible, even in the deepest places. This is why you should not hide them. The enemy will try to convince you that scars disqualify you, that they are reminders of failure. But in truth, they are reminders of deliverance. Every time you share your testimony, every time you show where you've been, you release hope into hearts that thought they were alone. Think of stained glass, broken pieces of glass. When put together, create a window through which light shines more beautifully than plain glass ever could. Your scars are those pieces. What was once shattered has become a mosaic through which heaven's light shines. People looking at your life will not just see pain, they will see beauty refracted through brokenness restored. So let your scars speak boldly. Let them declare to the world that pain does not have the final word, grace does. Your scars have become your sermon, and through them, multitudes will hear the voice of God. A new authority rests on you. Chosen one. Not the kind of authority that men grant and men can take away, but the kind that comes from heaven alone. This authority is not loud or boastful. It is quiet, steady, and unshakable. It rests upon your words, your presence, your very steps. Authority comes not through ease, but through endurance. You have walked through valleys where many turned back, and because you remained, heaven has clothed you in a mantle that carries weight. This authority is not about controlling others, it is about shifting atmospheres. When you speak, peace enters chaos. When you pray, doors begin to move. When you stand, darkness loses ground. The writings of James, chapter 5, verse 16 remind us, the prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective. This is the essence of your authority. It is not in the volume of your voice, but in the alignment of your spirit. You have walked long enough with God that your prayers carry weight. Your declarations shift reality, and your silence itself can speak louder than words. Think of Moses. At one time, he fled Egypt in fear. A man with no authority and no confidence, yet after his encounter with God, he returned with a staff in hand. That staff was not just wood, it was a symbol of divine authority. With it, waters parted, plagues broke chains, and freedom was declared. In the same way, your authority may not look like much to the world, but heaven has marked it. When you act in obedience, the earth responds. Picture also a key. To those who do not understand, it is a small object of little value, but in the hands of the one it belongs to, the key has authority to unlock doors others cannot. Your words, born from surrender, are keys. They open what was shut, release what was bound, and grant access to what once seemed impossible. Chosen one. Authority is costly. It is forged in fire, proven in wilderness, and confirmed in silence. Every trial you endured, every test you passed, every season of waiting, it all added weight to the mantle now resting on you. This is why your words carry power. They were not birthed in ease, but in endurance. And authority changes how the unseen world sees you. Darkness does not only hear what you say, it recognizes what you carry. Just as demons trembled when Paul spoke, not because of his name, but because of the Christ within him. So now darkness recognizes the mark upon your life. You may feel ordinary, but in the Spirit, you are clothed in authority that cannot be ignored. Do not mistake humility for weakness. You walk in meekness, but meekness is strength under control. The authority on you is not for pride, but for purpose. It is given so you can intercede, so you can declare freedom for the captive, so you can stand as a living testimony of heaven's power on earth. Imagine walking into a dark room, carrying a lantern. You do not shout at the darkness, you simply light the flame. Instantly, the darkness has no choice but to retreat. That is your life now. You do not need to strive, you only need to shine. The authority on you makes darkness scatter without debate. Chosen one. Recognize this mantle and walk in it. Your words matter more than you know. Your prayers move more than you see. Your presence shifts more than you feel. Heaven has placed a new authority upon you, and nothing in the earth or in hell can remove it. Authority, chosen one, is not meant to stay hidden. It is meant to be exercised with wisdom. When God places this mantle on you, He entrusts you with influence not just for yourself, but for others. Your authority is like rain in a dry land. It refreshes the weary, revives the faint-hearted, and nurtures seeds that have been waiting to grow. Do not underestimate the quiet ways this authority flows. A single word of encouragement from your mouth can lift someone from despair. A whispered prayer from your lips can reroute an entire situation. Even your presence in a room can shift the atmosphere, for heaven's weight rests upon you. This authority is not fragile, nor is it temporary. It does not fade when storms rise. It grows stronger. Each trial you endure only adds depth to it. Walk with boldness, not arrogance, for you have been entrusted with something eternal. The world may not recognize it, but heaven has stamped it upon your spirit forever. Your lineage awakens. Chosen one, what you have done is not limited to your own life. It is echoing into the generations that will follow. Every step of obedience you take, every chain you break, every pattern you refuse to repeat, is a seed planted in the soil of your family line. Though you may have felt alone in your battle, the truth is that your decision is awakening destinies beyond your own. There are stories written into your bloodline, some marked by pain, cycles, and bondage. Perhaps you carry the weight of what those before you could not overcome. Yet heaven chose you to be the interruption. You are the one standing at the threshold between what was and what will be. Your obedience has opened doors that your children and their children will walk through with ease. The ancient writings in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 9, remind us, "Know therefore that the Lord your God is God. He is the faithful God, keeping his covenant of love to 1,000 generations of those who love him and keep his commandments." Chosen one, your love and obedience today are not temporary acts. They are covenantal. They are awakening blessings that will ripple through your lineage. The enemy thought he had secured generational ground, but your yes has shaken his grip loose. The covenant of God has been re-established in your family line. Imagine a mighty tree standing in the forest. Its roots die deep, pulling water from unseen rivers. When the tree is strong, it shelters birds, offers shade, and scatters seeds that grow into new saplings. That is what you have become. Your strength, built through trials, now shelters and nourishes others. Generations will grow tall because your roots went deep. Think of Abraham once again. His obedience to leave his homeland was not only for himself, but for Isaac, for Jacob, for the nation that came after. He did not see the full fruit of his decision. Yet he set into motion a covenant that still stands. In the same way, your obedience is awakening a legacy that will bear fruit long after you are gone. Do not underestimate the weight of this awakening. Your lineage is not just about bloodlines, it is about spiritual inheritance. There are those connected to you not only by family, but by spiritual bonds, who will awaken because of what you carry. Your breakthrough is unlocking theirs. Your courage is stirring their faith. Your scars are guiding their healing. Chosen one, this is why heaven was shocked at what you finally did. You thought your step was only for you, but eternity saw it as a key turning in the lock of generations. When you said yes, chains fell not only from your wrists, but from those yet unborn. The enemy lost not just one battle, but an entire bloodline. Picture a river dammed for centuries, water swelling against the barrier. Then, suddenly, the wall breaks, and the river flows freely again. Lands that had been dry for years are flooded with life. That is your family line, where blessing had been dammed up, where grace had been resisted. The barrier is broken, and living water now flows. This awakening will not always be visible overnight. Some fruits take time. But know this, heaven has recorded your act, and the ripple has begun. Your lineage is no longer asleep, it is stirring, rising, and stepping into the light you unlocked. So, walk with assurance. You are not carrying only your story, you are carrying 1,000 stories within you. And because of your yes, they will awaken. Chosen one. Consider this. Awakening is not always loud. Sometimes it begins as a quiet stirring, like the first rustle of leaves before the wind becomes strong. Your lineage may not yet look transformed, but the awakening has started. Seeds planted in silence are already pressing upward through the soil. Generational blessings move differently than personal victories. They take time to mature. But once established, they are almost impossible to uproot. What you have set in motion is not fragile. It is enduring. You are building a foundation that storms cannot wash away. Think of a bell tower ringing at dawn. The sound may begin in one village, but soon the echo carries into valleys and hills far beyond. That is your obedience. Its sound is reaching places you may never see, touching descendants whose names you may never know. Yet all of them will be marked by what you chose today. Your lineage awakens, and heaven rejoices. You are announced in heaven, chosen one. The throne itself declares your victory, and the angels rejoice at the sound of your name. It is not a whisper anymore. It is a proclamation. Your obedience, your endurance, your faith has been recognized in eternity. The heavens celebrate, not because you are perfect, but because you remained faithful. Picture a royal court. Trumpets sound, banners wave, and a herald steps forward to announce the arrival of one who has overcome. That is how heaven sees you. The announcement is not made in secret. It is spoken loudly, so all realms, heaven, earth, and even hell know that you belong to the King. The writings in the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 5, proclaim, the one who is victorious will be dressed in white. I will never blot out the name from the book of life, but will acknowledge that name before my Father and his angels. Chosen one. This is the beauty of your announcement. Heaven does not erase your name, it echoes it. Your life is no longer hidden. It has been affirmed, sealed, and proclaimed in the courts above. Imagine a bell tolling across a city, its sound rolling through every street. No one can ignore it. Every ear must hear. That is what it is like when heaven announces you. The sound of your life rings across eternity, declaring that you are marked by victory. And here on earth, we mirror that heavenly announcement by allowing the sound to spread. When you like, when you share, when you subscribe, you are not just engaging with content, you are ringing the bell louder, carrying the sound farther. It is like standing in a tower and pulling the rope again and again so that the announcement resounds into valleys and villages still sleeping. When you comment, your words become part of the proclamation. Imagine writing your agreement as though carving it into stone, so future generations will see, this was the moment I bore witness. Each comment is not just text, it is another voice joining heaven's chorus. And when you feel led to donate, see it not as obligation, but as incense rising before the throne. In the temple of old, Incense was offered to let the fragrance fill the air. Your gift is that fragrance, rising into eternity, ensuring that the sound of this message carries even further. It is like adding wood to a fire. Your offering makes the flames leap higher, brighter, warmer, guiding more souls through the night. Think of a lighthouse. It stands firm, sending out beams of light into the storm, but the strength of its glow depends on the oil poured into it. When you support, you pour oil into the lamp, ensuring that the light never dims, and every wandering ship sees the shore. Or imagine a vineyard. The vines are healthy, but they need tending, watering, pruning. Your support is the care that ensures the vineyard thrives, producing fruit that feeds many. By giving, you are not simply sustaining one vine, you are ensuring a harvest for multitudes who will taste hope because of it. And finally, think of a river. One stream may be small, trickling quietly, but when many streams flow together, they form a current strong enough to carry life into dry lands. When you like, when you share, when you subscribe, and when you donate, you are streams joining the river of God's work. The river grows stronger, faster, deeper, spreading life where despair once reigned. There is no force here, no demand. Just as heaven's announcement of your name is a gift, so too is your choice to amplify the sound. When you respond, it is not because you must, but because your heart longs to join the celebration. Chosen one, the heavens have already proclaimed your victory. Your name is sealed in the book of life, and your story is being sung in eternity. Every act of faith, every word of agreement, every seed of support is part of the echo. Together, heaven and earth declare, your name has been announced, and your victory is sure. And let this announcement encourage you, chosen one. When heaven speaks your name, no earthly silence can erase it. No opposition, no whisper of doubt. No scheme of the enemy can cancel what the throne has already declared. Your story is sealed, your victory announced, your identity confirmed. Every act of faith you take now is simply walking in the truth already proclaimed over you. So lift your head with assurance. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are celebrated in heaven's courts. And that sound will never be silenced. A new mantle descend. Chosen one. Heaven does not simply celebrate your obedience and endurance. It equips you for what is next. The mantle is more than a covering. It is a commissioning. It signifies that your role is shifting, that your identity is being crowned with greater responsibility, and that your life is now moving from survival to leadership. A mantle is never given lightly. It is the visible sign of an invisible assignment. In the days of Elijah and Elisha, the mantle was a symbol of prophetic weight, of calling, of anointing that could not be earned, but was entrusted. When Elisha saw Elijah taken up into heaven, the mantle that fell was not just cloth, it was destiny wrapped in fabric. Elisha picked it up, and from that moment forward, his life carried double the authority, double the impact, double the reach. Chosen one. This is what has descended upon you. The new mantle is not an accessory, it is an identity. It rests on your shoulders as a declaration. You are stepping into the very role you were born for. What you carry now is not just personal faith, it is generational weight, heavenly authority, and divine assignment. The ancient words in the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 1, Declare, the Spirit of the Lord is on me. He has anointed me to proclaim good news and freedom. This is the heart of your mantle. It is not simply for you, it is for those who will encounter you. The mantle equips you to speak freedom, to carry healing, to release hope. It is not about status, but service. Not about recognition, but transformation. Imagine a torch passed in a relay. The runner does not stop to admire the flame. They carry it forward, knowing others are waiting for its light. Your mantle is that torch. It burns with purpose, and you are entrusted to carry it through your generation. Picture also a shepherd's cloak. It may look ordinary, yet it carries the smell of sheep, the evidence of care, the weight of responsibility. The new mantle on you is not flashy, it is practical, strong, and shaped by love. It declares that you are trusted to guide, to guard, and to gather. Chosen one. Mantles often feel heavy at first. You may wonder if you are ready, if you are strong enough, if you are worthy to wear it. But remember, mantles are not placed on those who are perfect, but on those who are willing. Your yes has already proven that you are prepared. Heaven would not release what you cannot bear. This mantle also shifts how the unseen world responds to you. Where once you walked as one tested, now you walk as one commissioned. Angels recognize the mantle and rally to assist. Darkness recognizes it and steps back in fear. The mantle is a signal. Authority has been granted, and the assignment has begun. Do not be afraid of what this mantle requires, what it demands. It also empowers. The Spirit of God within you supplies the strength to carry what heaven has placed upon you. You are not carrying it alone. The one who anointed you is the one who sustains you. So, wear it with courage. This mantle is not a burden but an honor. It is proof that heaven has seen your journey, affirmed your faith, and chosen you for greater things. The mantle descends, and with it, your destiny takes full shape. Chosen one. Step forward. You are no longer just surviving seasons. You are stepping into your calling. The mantle rests on your shoulders, and heaven smiles as you walk in what was written for you from the beginning. And remember this, chosen one, mantles are not meant to be admired from afar, folded and hidden away. They are meant to be worn, carried into the dust of real life, tested in the winds of adversity. The beauty of your mantle will not be seen when it is clean and untouched, but when it bears the marks of service, love, and sacrifice. Think of a knight's armor after battle. It may be dented, scarred, and worn, yet it shines brighter because it has proven its worth. So too with your mantle, it will tell the story of the souls you touched, the prayers you lifted, the chains you helped break. Lift your shoulders with confidence. You are not wearing borrowed cloth. You are wearing heaven's trust. Walk forward boldly, for this mantle is the evidence that you are chosen, equipped, and released into destiny. The unveiling of glory begins. Chosen one, everything you have walked through, the trials, the waiting, the scars, the fire. The mantle has led to this moment. It is not the end of your journey, but the revelation of what has been hidden within you all along. Heaven now allows what was concealed to shine openly, so that all may see the glory of God reflected through your life. Glory is not about applause or recognition. It is about radiance. The kind that cannot be manufactured. The kind that flows from within because the Spirit of God rests upon you. When Moses descended from Mount Sinai, his face shone so brightly that the people could not even look at him. That radiance was not his own. It was the reflection of divine presence. In the same way, your glory is not your achievement, but your reflection of him. The writings in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 3, verse 18, declare, "And we all, who with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory, are being transformed into his image with ever-increasing glory, which comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit." Chosen one. The unveiling of glory means transformation. You are not who you were, and you will not remain who you are now. The journey has always been about becoming, about being shaped into his image until your life itself becomes a mirror of the divine. Imagine a statue covered with a veil. For years, no one sees the masterpiece beneath. Then one day, the veil is pulled away, and the sculptor's work is revealed. That is what is happening in your story. The veil of pain, of waiting, of misunderstanding, of limitation. It is lifting, and what is revealed is not brokenness, but beauty shaped by the Master's hand. Think of dawn after the long night. The first rays of sunlight touch the earth, transforming the landscape. Shadows retreat, colors return, and life awakens. That is your unveiling. What was hidden in the dark is now lit with brilliance. Glory is rising upon you, not as a distant promise, but as a present reality. Glory also means weight, the weight of God's presence that rests upon your life. It is not always comfortable. Sometimes glory feels heavy, because it carries responsibility, yet it is a holy weight. The kind that anchors you, steadies you, and keeps you from being tossed by every storm. You have been trusted with this weight because you have proven faithful in seasons of lightness and loss. Chosen one. Your unveiling will not just impact you. Others will see and be drawn to the light. Isaiah once spoke, "Nations will come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your dawn." Your life becomes a beacon, not because of who you are, but because of the glory unveiled in you. This unveiling is not sudden, it is unfolding, day by day, step by step. More of his image is revealed through you. You may not feel radiant, but heaven sees the transformation. Even the smallest acts of faith shine with eternal brightness. So, embrace this unveiling. Do not shrink from the light. Do not cover yourself again with veils of fear or shame. Let the world see what God has done. Your story is not about displaying your strength, but his glory. The unveiling of glory is the beginning of a new chapter. It is heaven's way of saying, the hidden work is complete. The refining has finished. The time to shine has come, and as you walk forward, the brilliance of his presence will mark every step. Chosen one. Glory is not fleeting like the applause of men. It is enduring because it flows from eternity. The unveiling you now carry cannot be dimmed by criticism, jealousy, or the shadows of the past. Once light has touched a room, darkness cannot reclaim it. The same is true for you. What heaven has unveiled cannot be veiled again. Think of a diamond buried deep in the earth. For centuries it remains unseen. covered in soil and pressure, but when it is unearthed, cleaned, and lifted to the light, its brilliance is undeniable. No one asks the diamond to prove its worth. Its shine is self-evident. That is you now. The unveiling of glory does not require you to explain or defend. It only requires you to reflect. And this reflection is not only for today, it will echo into eternity. Every act of obedience, every battle endured, every scar transformed is woven into the glory that will never fade. You are stepping into what was always destined for you, a life radiant with the presence of the one who chose you from the beginning. Chosen one. The story has been told, the journey unveiled, and the mantle revealed. Heaven itself has borne witness to what you have endured, what you have broken through, and what you have become. And now, as this message comes to a close, the echo of it must continue, not in silence, but in the living testimonies of those who carry it forward. Think of this moment like the final note of a symphony. The sound does not end when the instruments stop. It lingers in the air, vibrating in the hearts of those who listened. That is what your response becomes, the lingering echo that carries the message into new places. When you like, when you share, when you subscribe, it is as though you are carrying the final note farther, letting it resound into valleys where silence once reigned. Each click is like lighting another lantern along the path. So, travelers coming behind you will not walk in darkness. And when you comment, your words become like stones dropped into a river. The ripples travel far beyond the point of impact, touching lives you will never meet. Each comment is not just interaction, it is testimony, a way of saying, this word found me, and I choose to let it live on through me. For those stirred to donate, see it not as giving away, but as planting. A seed leaving your hand never leaves your life. It enters the soil of destiny. Your offering is a seed that grows into sheltering trees, nourishing many, providing shade and fruit for souls who are still wandering hungry. This is the beauty of it. There is no demand, only invitation. Just as you were free to receive, you are free to give, free to share, free to let the light flow onward. And when you do, you join heaven's chorus, carrying the flame into every corner where darkness still lingers. Chosen one, heaven has seen you. Now let the world see through you.